All right, welcome to PheedLoop webinar. This one is going to be focused largely on virtual events. I know some of you might be interested in hybrid as well, so I'll do a little bit of work to touch on some of those concepts. But PheedLoop is a massive platform that spans not only virtual events, tons of hybrid event products as well, and on-site products. So we'll talk a little bit about that. This next hour is going to be pretty fast. I'm going to be going over a lot of information, but for the next 15 minutes or so, what I'm going to do is try to give you some basic information about PheedLoop, about the company, about the product, and most importantly about pricing. Looking forward to hearing any questions that you might have. So let's just jump right into the company itself and tell you that PheedLoop's been around for about 6 years now. We've been powering events for a long time on site as well, and have all the same tired feet and long days as any other event planner. And we've worked with academic institutions, large and small, companies, large and small, at tons of associations and agencies and everyone. So we've worked a lot in the events industry, and our product spans everything from mobile event apps and reg, on-site badge printing, floor plans, digitally and virtual 3D floor plans, video networking, streaming, everything that you might imagine is built into PheedLoop. It's a really powerful system that just does so much. I think it's on that note, it's important to talk about why product is so important to us. We personally feel like there's just so many products out there that sort of market themselves as event management platforms. They're outrageously expensive. They're kind of patchwork solutions glued together by different products. PheedLoop is a purpose-built product, and I think this is important over the last little while more than anything else, where we see a lot of platforms that took, like, say, mobile event apps and transitioned them by sticking in something like streaming and calling it a virtual event platform. It's really not how you do it. We build products that solve specific problems from the ground up. So even our virtual event solution, it was built and designed specifically for virtual events and the way attendees behave in virtual events, not kind of adapting an old solution. And we're constantly innovating. The best example of this is our blog, feedloop.com/blog. Just check it out. There's so much we talk about here. Every week we have a new product release. It's really great. Our goal is to focus on product. So that means keeping sales and marketing and all of that as simple and transparent as possible. So you'll hear me talking about pricing in just about 5 minutes. But we're super transparent with this. You pay as you go. We keep things really affordable. We don't tie you into anything. And we rely mainly for our sales on word of mouth. So people like you tell other people like yourself about PheedLoop, and they come to us and we work with them. So that's really how we work. And we just like putting everything out there so that you're able to make the best decision possible, and you're not making huge investments up front or locking yourself in to something that you might not like. And the way we think about customers is also that we want to make sure that we just put everything out there. So we invest heavily in public webinars daily, twice a day oftentimes, a full knowledge base. So if you go to support.feedloop.com, that's right here, feel free to go there right now and search up anything you want, whether it's like sponsorship, for example, and you'll see virtual sponsorship opportunities, or, the backstage, for example. You'll see full tutorials on all of this. Not to say that we don't provide support. We're just a message away from your dashboard. So just message us there and we'll be able to respond to you. Our goal is to make you capable so that you're able to work with us on strategic things and not asking us hey, where's this button? So yeah, we're here to help you in every way we can. Plus we have live event support if you need it. We'll be able to answer you anytime, pretty much immediately. And we're always listening to feedback. That's how our product has grown and evolved so much and become what it is. There are a lot of competitors in air quotes out there. People often compare us to all kinds of different platforms. We find it funny sometimes because they really aren't competitors or comparisons, but sometimes individual features are. PheedLoop itself is an end-to-end event management platform. That's what it is. It's not for, usually it's not for really small events or small, half an hour, 1 hour sessions or anything like that. It's not just a virtual event platform. It's not just a single function tool for like reg or networking or anything like that, or polling. It's a full and true event management platform from the beginning. And that's a really important distinction. But if you want to learn a little bit more, I recommend checking out this one blog post that we have called 10 Ways PheedLoop is Different. And it'll give you a lot more information, a lot more detail about precisely how we think PheedLoop is different and a better product. So check that out. And then lastly, I want to talk about partners. We work a lot with partners, a lot. So if you're looking at PheedLoop for one of your clients or you're a customer that knows a lot of other potential customers of FeedLoop, we have lots of ways to incentivize you. So I recommend checking out our sales knowledge base at sales.feedloop.com. Pricing is here as well. And clicking on partnerships and exploring our different types of partnerships. So lots to learn and explore there as well. And hopefully we get to work with you as a partner. So I'm going to spend the next long while anyway talking about the technology by showing you the technology, but I just want to give you a quick deep dive, quick look at the different tech components inside FeedLoop, at least what's relevant to this webinar, so that you know sort of what we're going for here. You'll see that these three sections are grayed out: the event management side, mobile event app, on-site services. We will touch on these pieces, but these four pieces combined really create a hybrid event. And we have a lot of literature on those other pieces as well, but we're really going to focus on virtual events. But there's tons of event management features related to Reg and websites and apps and on-site staffing and printing of badges and streaming in interesting ways from on-site as well. So let's talk about virtual events, and as a result, you'll learn about most of the other pieces as well. The base platform in FeedLoop, it covers everything you might need: a nice modern new dashboard, open API if you need it, pretty much the ability to manage, multiple admins can work at the same time, great customer service. All of these are kind of just basics built in. When it comes to the virtual event itself, you have native streaming, native video calling. These are products that we've built and integrated into the system. They're not kind of third-party integrations. Live and 3D exhibit booths, tons of sponsorship opportunities, the ability to conduct your event in multiple languages. All of that is built into FeedLoop, and you'll see a lot of that as we talk about the actual product. One of the most important parts of any virtual event is the streaming and all of that. We have lots of different options for that. But some of the most popular ones come from our native system called Meet and Stream, which is basically our own version of like Zoom built into FeedLoop. It's not Zoom, it's like Zoom in a lot of ways, but it's built into FeedLoop, and it supports native RTMP, native streaming right from the backstage in the portal. I'll demonstrate this to you later in this webinar. Real-time chat, CE tracking, all of that is built in, along with the ability to freely upload and stream pre-recorded videos, which we're seeing more and more events do these days. Meet and Stream is our native system, so that allows you to have screen sharing, gallery view, streaming pre-recorded, scaling to lots and lots of viewers. So all of this is built in, and you'll see more of that as well. Now, if you don't want to use Meet and Stream and you don't want to use pre-recorded videos, we have several other options as well from third-party integrations. One of the most popular ones is Zoom, so I'll demonstrate that to you as well, because the Zoom integration is unlike what you've seen in any other platform. We've really kind of like white-labeled the Zoom integration and built it all into FeedLoop. You're going to love it. Virtual networking is awesome as well. FeedLoop Meet is what we use as the basis for that, which has group video calling and all of that, and text chatting and multitasking while networking, the ability to see who's online anywhere. And my favorite piece is called location-aware networking, and I'll show you what this looks like in the demo shortly. The exhibit hall has always been a favorite for a lot of people as well, just because it has so many features that help build exhibitor and sponsor ROI, real-time live video with FeedLoop Meet built in, lead capture systems, the ability to customize designs, and exhibitors have their own private portals. So that means they can go in and self-manage their booths and all of that, so you're not micromanaging them. More on that shortly. And 3D views as well, which is really fun. I'll show you our new animated 3D view as well really soon. And on the topic of portals, your speakers, your exhibitors, your sponsors, they all have their own private portals, which allows for things like task management, floor plans, setting up their own profiles, and everything is synced with all your front-facing tools. So your event website, your virtual portal, your PDF show guides, your API, everything is in sync. And that's really the power of a true event management platform. So excited to go through all of that with you as well. And one of the last things I'm going to touch on in the presentation of the actual product is the website. So that's going to be an important piece, and I'll go over all of that with you as well. But custom HTML, embeddable templates out of the box, plus a full registration system built in. And I know that's like a footer in this case right now, or a footnote, but that registration system is very powerful. And if you're not using our registration system, you can always freely import attendees into the FeedLoop system without any issue. So yeah, tons of options, multi-language support, everything is ready for hybrid, some really powerful integrations, and sponsorship is really important to us. We're always releasing new options for you to create value for your sponsors, especially important with virtual events where a lot of people are still learning how to create the most value for their sponsors. And we'll send this to you anyway, either in a follow-up email or just send us a request. But here are some live demos we recommend checking out. The first one is actually one of our user conferences where we had about 750 to 1,000 of our customers live recently, and we'll keep having more of these conferences. So we'll be kind of oscillating between the two for the actual demo coming up. So let's briefly talk about pricing, and we have all this information available, as you see here at the top right, sales.feedloop.com. So definitely check that out. But the way pricing works is it's essentially based on user credits. So if I were to just flip over here so that you have quick access to this, a user is basically anyone who's registered for a unique event of yours. So you might purchase, say, 100 user credits, and you can use that for 100 events with one user in each one if you wanted to, or 10 events with 10 people in each one if you wanted to. And it includes everybody that's registered for your event, speakers, staff, anybody who's listed as a profile inside your system. And you can always remove them prior to your event and reclaim those user credits. So that keeps things really easy. And you can run an unlimited amount of events in PheedLoop. Don't worry, I'll go back to the pricing in just a moment. We don't charge per day, so you can run your event for as many days as you like. Totally up to you. If you don't know how many user credits you need, you can always start small and add up, one of the benefits of our pricing model. And you don't need to buy all the modules either, so I'll show you that in just a moment. And if you are using your own reg tool, don't worry, you can upload them right into PheedLoop on your own really easily. So again, keeping the idea of what a user credit is in mind, it's approximately kind of going to be the number of people that you expect to come to your event. You would at any time just buy the number of user credits you want, and the price for those user credits would depend on which modules you have activated or you purchased and how many user credits that you want. So suppose you wanted to buy 500 user credits and you had all of these core modules activated. So that'd be $1.50 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'd be $1.50 times 5 times 500. Now, most events that are, say, about like 100 to 500 people or 100 to 200 people, they usually fall around the $2,000 range, and it kind of scales linearly that way. So if your event, or your multiple events rather, have up to 500 people, then you might want to buy these credits because the price is lower per credit at this breakpoint. And similarly so for if you're looking at it for like less than that. So if you're getting 100 user credits, then you would be in this column here, and you can always add more user credits on whenever you want, really, really easily. Also, add-ons, things like virtual event gamification, group networking, these are things you can add on anytime you want as well if you think they're valuable, along with live event support. So the bottom line that I'm trying to get across here is that we're not trying to, you don't have to commit to anything ahead of time. You can start small and grow from there if you wanted to. If you have more than 5,000 user credits that you need, whether it's for one event or multiple, no problem. Just let us know. There's no limit on the number of people that that PheedLoop can support. And things like the premium exhibit booth, I'll talk more about that in the demo itself. Huge amount of value for such a small price for your exhibitors, and you can segment out features for exhibitors and all of that to kind of monetize things in the best way possible. Group networking is valuable, so 25 by 25 means you can have 25 groups with up to 25 people in each group at any time, but built into the base virtual networking module, if you buy that, is 5 by 5, so up to 5 groups with 5 people in each one. And then lots of streaming options. So whether our built-in meet and stream, which I'll show you, whether uploaded stream, which is free, and I'll show you that as well, built-in API integrated service like Zoom, which I'll also show you, or anything else that you might want to bring in. So, I recommend, again, going to sales.feedloop.com, pricing here. There's tons of information along with the on-demand version of this demo as well that I recommend checking out. Okay. So last but not least, customer support. Like I mentioned earlier, we're always there for you. Constant Q&A, just ask us questions from your dashboard. Live support if you need it, always there for you as well. Massive knowledge base at support.feedloop.com. And please join us for these daily live office hours. They're great. You can ask questions, you can hear other people's questions, and just get like a visual understanding of everything that we're offering, and explaining. Really great for beginners. People usually find that it takes about 2 weeks or so to kind of get their first event up and running, a week to sort of learn the system part-time, and they find it pretty easy to use, so that's always helpful. Anyway, time to explore the platform. Let's dive right into the product and see where that takes us. Welcome to the PheedLoop dashboard. So this is going to be your first stop. It'll sort of lay the foundation to help you kind of navigate, get your bearings right, understand where things are. So the PheedLoop dashboard is a really clean, simple, intuitive platform where basically this is where you spend your time as an event planner, you and your team, to set everything up. So things like basic event details, of course, all available to fill in here, basic graphics. We're going to be using what we call the Space Travel Conference for our demonstration today. So I hope you like space. We're all kind of space geeks here at PheedLoop. You have experiences, particularly things like your virtual event platform, your mobile app, networking experiences, your website, things like that. They're all baked inside the experiences tab here. So we'll get into some of these things. Now, hopefully you're already starting to gather that it's really like kind of click and fill in forms most of the time. It takes a little bit of time to just get the hang of it, nothing too major, and you're kind of ready to go very fast. So we try really hard to just make sure everything is super intuitive. Registration, for example, everything is populated here. Your registrations will be coming in here if you're using our registration module, that is. So that's always nice. You can set up your tickets inside here, and you have the ability to set them up in all kinds of interesting ways. Lots of kind of options here. We'll get into registration in a little bit. But just so many options to consider. Same deal with attendees. It's like, hopefully you're getting the pattern here. It's really simple, really intuitive, just easy to navigate and implement. Sessions are really fun as well. There's so many options here to consider. We'll get into a lot of the details here with you momentarily. And of course, friendly dashboard messages. By the way, that's great. If you ever wanted to actually leave us a message, first of all, you can always search for things here. Otherwise, just click on Ask, and our team, you can see some of their friendly faces here. They'll be able to get back to you ASAP if you have any questions. So that's always great as well. You can go inside here and modify sessions or anything like that. So hopefully you're getting the idea. Like, there's nothing overly complex about this, but there's so many kind of detailed functionality inside here that really make things extremely convenient and extremely powerful, from finance management and credit management, and just like endless functionality that you can really tap into as you grow into PheedLoop more, and as you start using it for more events, and not requiring the need to combine multiple different platforms to achieve a single kind of solution. Same with communications, announcements, and all of that you can configure inside here. Now, one of the things that's really important that I want to use as a point to branch off from is the event portals menu. So these are a lot of your external facing portals that are going to be important. So say, for example, your virtual event portal. We'll talk a lot more about this really soon. And this is just like kind of a stock virtual event portal. There's so many more options around here. You can put in your own custom designs. It'll obviously pick up your custom colors and logos. You can even use custom CSS and all of that in all over the platform if you really wanted to. We'll talk more about the virtual event in a little bit. The event website, which is a ready to go event website. Lots and lots of detailed functionality inside here as well, and all of these widgets, if you wanted to put them into your own website, are embeddable, so that's really nice. So even something like, say, the registration flow, you're able to just use this one thing inside this one registration widget and pop it into your own. Things like the schedule widget, all of that, they're all available for you here. So lots of neat functionality in the website as well. I was talking a little bit earlier about the mobile event app. That's a separate module in the system. Really, most virtual events don't need it. This is great for on-site or hybrid events. Again, PheedLoop's not a platform that's built off of, at least the virtual event side, off the mobile event app, but so many features inside here as well. So just by way of an example, you'll see that you can log in here and you have tons and tons of functions. And if I log in, you'll see even more on-site specific functions that'll pop up. So I'll log in as the one of the admins inside here. And you'll see that on the left-hand side, you'll have lots of new things pop up, like event check-in, that includes things like badge printing and all of that. So these are not new things. These are not things that we're going to have to innovate on and build. You're ready to have all of these things built inside that one PheedLoop ecosystem for you. It just makes everything and life just super easy. Even lead capture, like the leads between your on-site events for your exhibitors and your virtual events, they're all synced together. Like, again, this is like, PheedLoop is an all-in-one event management platform. This is not a tool that's sort of constantly being built for some of the basic functions. It's all here. So yeah, and we even have a brand new event app coming out that's just going to have so many new features as well. So keep an eye out for that. But the virtual event platform, for all the basic and important functions mobile compatible as well. So nothing to worry about there. And then you have things like your application portals, should they ever become relevant. They're too detailed right now to get into in this demo and this webinar, but things like, say, your Exhibitor application system is available here that allows your exhibitors to apply, select booths, build their contract, make payments, and all of that. And then you can manage all of them inside here. And then your stakeholders eventually get their own portals as well, which I'll show you momentarily. So there are two other important aspects here in terms of portals. You have your proposals as well, which is a full abstract management proposal system with reviews and reviewers. Also not going to get into that in this webinar, but lots of information around this at support.pheedloop.com or just ask our team. And then specific functions like for each of your stakeholders. Remember when in the previous in the slide deck I was talking about stakeholder portals where, say, I wanted to, for the Little Green Men group, after they applied or you imported them or anything like that, I wanted to kind of go and learn or give them access to their own portal. The Exhibitor portal is exactly that, where they can go in and manage whatever you allow them to. So you can choose these things like their profile, like their design, like their floor plan. And you might not have all of these. So you can, of course, disable things. One of my favorite things, though, is task management. Like these features, these are really what make an event management platform an event management platform. It's not enough to kind of just market yourself as one. So why is this one of my favorite things? Well, like you can create custom tasks and your stakeholders get reminders letting them know when things are due. So you're not chasing after them for little things. And then you'll get notifications when they complete things. So suppose I, as an exhibitor, mark this as complete, I'll get a little celebration, all is well, everything worked out. And then you'll get a notification letting you know when something is done. So let me just mark that as incomplete so I don't annoy my colleagues. But you can see things like lead retrieval and everything like that just built inside PheedLoop. Now, if some of these things aren't relevant for you at this moment, don't worry too much about them. You can bench it and just know that PheedLoop is a platform that's available for you as you grow, as your needs expand. Or if you don't need them, you just don't have to use them. But most events really do, and it makes a huge difference for them, oftentimes saving them endless, investment with money investment and time. So those portals are amazing, and they're there for speakers, for sponsors, and all of them as well. So speaker portals, for example, available as well. Just really nice options built inside here for them as well. Task management, profile management, all of that updates. And they make changes in there, and they update and ripple across your entire platform in real time. So hopefully you're getting an idea of just like how everything sort of comes together. How there are some attendee-facing portals like the event app or like the virtual event portal or the website, things like that. Their internal stakeholder portals like the speaker portal, sponsor portal, exhibitor portal. Their application portals like call for abstracts and exhibitor applications, sponsor applications, and things like that. And then there's your dashboard. So there's these layers that just kind of all collaborate and work together depending on which ones you want to use, that make your events really smart and really possible. Lots of reports as well. People are always interested in reporting. You can get these reports in real time, data for everything from registrations to check-in to sessions, virtual attendance, on-site attendance, because you can scan people's badges. All of that is here, and all of it is combined and aggregated together. And we have even more reporting functionalities coming out in the not too distant future. And then you have things like in your settings, the ability to self-manage everything you might want. So account and billing, you can go in and add additional credits anytime you like right from here. So you can see just how easy it is to do things like add credits and upgrade your account and things like that. We just try to make things as hands-off as possible so that you have control and you can own your own experience. And we're there to help you with the really hard stuff and really help you grow your events as much as possible. So hopefully that's a good overview of how the dashboard sort of all comes together and works. Let's actually now start talking about specific elements of the virtual event portal that I was showing you earlier, right here. Now, what you're looking at right now, this is the attendee experience. And depending on how you're actually watching this webinar, you might see some of the video components in this and the rest of the demo today look a little choppy, but that's not how they are in real life. So just log into the demo event and you'll be able to see it for yourself. It just sort of depends on how you're looking at this webinar. So what you see here is the lobby and so many features. It's almost too hard to get into all of them, but I'm going to do my best and try to point out some of the different elements here. Remember, you can log into this one as well as this other virtual event that we have here. This is a recent, actually, a little while ago, one of our user conferences. So we run these relatively often. About 1,000 of our customers had registered, 750 had come there. It was awesome. And these will give you access to this as well. I'd shown it to you earlier in the slides. Great sessions and all the features. And we try to use our own tech and use it as an opportunity to show it off, push the limits, take some risks, and just give our customers something to have some fun about. So we had really great gamification and just awesome prizes and all of that sort of great stuff, great sessions and everything like that as well. And some really unique extra features, like we even implemented our own little virtual reality room and things like that. So I recommend, going in and having a look later on and checking things out. It was good fun, and we'll be running more again soon. So going back to our demo event here, this is kind of our main sample data demo event. This is the Space Travel Conference again. Let's point out some of the interesting things about this, and I will try to cover as many as I can. Now, one of my favorite bits is on the right-hand side, this area here. So this is basically a location-aware communication and presence tracking system. Now that sounds complicated, but it's actually really simple and really powerful. Remember when I was talking about networking, I was saying one of the most important things is being able to know where people are all the time and being able to network with people in context. Well, that's what this is for. You can click on, say, Sally Parker, for example, and you'll be able to network with her if you wanted to anytime. If you wanted to go into the chat area, the chat is specific to the different location. So if I were to go into a session, for example, I'd be able to jump into the session-specific chat there and explore who's there in that session with me right now. So I can see there's 2 of us here, which is always nice. We have multiple accounts with the same credentials. Or, if I was in the exhibit hall, I could be chatting with those specific exhibitors. Now, you can turn these into global chats if you wanted to as well. That works totally fine, but it really depends on how you're setting things up. So I'll show you a lot more about the different aspects of sessions in the exhibit hall and all of that in due course, but just know that this is really powerful, and the ability to always know where somebody is in the event, that is really, really interesting and opens up so many possibilities for networking. Is one of the biggest drivers, because it's like bumping into people in the hallway. Then you have other really interesting features all over. So many sponsorship opportunities. It's going to be hard to point every single one of them out, but there are honestly so many. And I recommend, looking up in our knowledge base, remember support.pheedloop.com, just looking up sponsorship, and you'll find virtual sponsorship opportunities that we're updating every now and then. Every 2 or 3 weeks, we have a new opportunity that you can use for sponsorship. I know we have things like the ability for you to select from different languages. Most of the time when people need multi-language events, especially for virtual and hybrid events where there are people joining from all over the world, this is even more important. You have to create different event interfaces. We have the languages built in here, a bunch of them, and you can even customize these languages. So say French, which is a pretty popular one. I wanted to translate this. Now, not only does the interface change into French, all the notifications and pop-ups and all of that sort of stuff, but you can put in custom translations. So if I go into sessions, you'll see even the session titles and the tracks and formats and things like that. Anything you want, can change at the same time. And that's really powerful, and it's as simple as just, going into advanced and going into translations and feeding in your translations for different languages. So as you can see here, we put in different translations for different languages, and you can even override our built-in translations if you have specific regional versions of certain types of text. So that's super, super powerful, and we even have live captioning and things like that, which we'll talk about in a little bit when we talk about sessions. Accessibility is obviously really important to us. So if I were to go inside here, you'd be able to see that you have tons of AI-powered options for accessibility, plus a lot of built-in options to just help out with people with various kinds of special requirements. So that's also really powerful. I recommend having a look through here. There's some very innovative functions inside here that really help achieve higher levels of WCAG and AODA compliance and all. Let us know if you have more questions around that. Now, the overall design, it picks up your logos, your colors, and all of that, of course, but you can really customize things way more than that, depending on what your event looks and feels like, with your own custom images and GIFs and videos. You'll see with our Trailblazers event here, for example, we've customized the design a little bit. So one really interesting thing about PheedLoop in general is we don't lock our code very much. At least we give you access as much as we can. So you can implement your own CSS, your own JavaScript in most cases if you wanted to. And what that allows you to do is really create a nice customized experience for your event. that really matches your brand if you want to take it to that level. And we've seen people do amazing things with this system by using some custom code. But by no means do you have to. There's already a lot of great design options built in, and kind of everything just shows up on screen pretty conveniently and pretty easily. You also have the ability to put in nice little widgets, like say if you wanted to put in a third-party chat support widget, you could do that here. And this we put in for our own event where people can start a conversation. So if you wanted to support your attendees in real time, we have documentation that you can use in our support knowledge base that just helps you figure that out and use that and implement that really quickly. And there are a lot of interesting things you can do beyond that. You can integrate third-party tools. As an example, we just put in this relevant solar system widget inside here, just as an example that you can put in a lot of third-party tools inside here as well with relative ease. But you might want to check with us so that or test it out so that we can let you know if it'll work smoothly or not. Most of the time, no issue at all. So on the left-hand side, you have a bunch of different options. Depending on what's important to your event, you'd activate certain ones. And if you're an admin, you'll see certain ones as well. So for example, the backstage is where you'll do a lot of your streaming from. That's, we have built-in streaming options, of course, third-party integrations, of course, but the backstage is great for kind of managing that. So only your speakers and you would see access to that if you allow them access in general. And depending on which modules you've purchased, you'll see the different options here. So if you don't have gamification, don't worry, that won't show up. If you don't have networking, it won't show up. And so on and so forth. Lots of abilities to chat. So built inside PheedLoop is what we call PheedLoop Meet. So that's our whole private meeting system. So it's really easy for me to, start a conversation with somebody. I can click on their face anywhere I want and start a conversation. We'll talk more about networking in a little bit. And then PheedLoop Meet is embedded everywhere. So you can jump into video calls in groups or with individuals from pretty much anywhere inside the PheedLoop system. So that's also just really important because we see a lot of networking happening, what we say asynchronously, outside the hours of the event, and you want to encourage that as much as you possibly can. So that's really, really valuable too. What you heard there was actually a little notification bell. So inside PheedLoop are also the ability to push notifications and all of that within the system. So if I were to go into communications, just to show you what one might look like, and you can pre-schedule these, you'll get private notifications if somebody messages you, things like that. Let me just close this little notification here. If I were to go inside here and see that it's a push notification enabled option, I would just be able to go and send a single announcement if I wanted to, just for fun, and type in events at PheedLoop.com. That's who we are here. Submit. And there you go. You'll see that. Now, a really neat thing is even if you have the portal closed, the notifications will come to your browser, your desktop, or your tablet or anything like that as well into the operating system, because not everyone's going to have this portal open all the time. But if somebody sends you a message, you want to be able to jump back in and respond to it. So that's always really neat as well. You can go in here and you can continue, you can see what that notification was all about. You'll also see private message notification that you can just click reply into. So multitasking is really important. The ability to just be able to be in a session, but also network with people at the same time. So lots of really powerful and important features there. Now, obviously, this system is mobile compatible as well. So that's valuable. Some of the more advanced features are really designed for desktop. So unlike platforms that were like mobile app first, event platforms that were like 95% of people at those events because their on-site attendees use mobile, for virtual events, and most of the time it's 95% or so based on our metrics are desktop or laptop users. So we've made a lot of optimizations for them, and of course it works in mobile as well. Attendees can control their own profile. So this whole system, by the way, I have to log in to access it. This is not like a public page. So the same way you'll log in with a test account, you'll see what that whole experience looks like. But once I'm in there, I can do things like update my profile. I can, change my passwords and all of that, upload files to my profile. I can download certificates of attendance. You'll be able to choose what you want people to and to not be able to do in the back end of the PheedLoop system through your dashboard. And the time zone awareness is also really just critically important. So everything in PheedLoop is time zone aware. Everything adapts based on individuals' local time zone. So all of that is crucial as well. So what I think we'll do is go on to talk about some of the other specific modules inside here. If you ever wanted to provide support to your attendees, we have lots of options, but you can even create custom help content and all of that and embed it right inside FeedLoop, help videos, lots and lots of design and sponsorship options. So let us know what you're interested in, and we'll definitely help you out. So let's take this opportunity to start talking a little bit about some of the specific modules inside the virtual event portal and see where that takes us. So let's talk a little bit more about sessions. Now, this is a pretty big one because there's so many important aspects to streaming and content and all of that. We've designed our whole streaming setup and the whole sessions setup to be relevant for virtual, hybrid, and on-site only events. So even the streaming ingest and all of that that's built into FeedLoop, it's perfectly compatible with any of the AV sources that you'll be using on site. We'll talk more about that. But for virtual entirely, of course, lots and lots of different options. You'll see here that you have your full, there's a lot going on here, so we'll talk a little bit about each piece, but you'll have your full schedule here. We have events with 5 sessions. We have events with 1,000+ sessions, lots of academic events, lots of events with poster presentations and complex situations like that. And there's so many mechanisms built in to make all of that possible. And let us know if you have specific requirements or questions. It's hard to go over each and every little use case in this one general demonstration and webinar, but you have the ability to filter through any custom categories that you might add, tracks, formats, audiences, and all of that. If your event is live right now, then what'll happen is that it'll auto scroll and it'll show you which sessions are live at any given moment, which is also really, really neat. What you see here is the check-in survey. So a really cool thing is that you can set up custom surveys, even sponsored surveys here as an example, that'll pop up. Great to get session feedback, great to learn a little bit more about basically how long an attendee might have been in the session. You get those analytics out of the gate with FeedLoop anyway. So that's all really nice. And then inside here, you can search for sessions and all of that. People can personalize their schedules by clicking on the little plus icon. If there are ever any conflicts, it'll let them know right away. So that's also super helpful. And there's just a lot of intricate features in here that just make this a really robust and neat system. Now, again, if you see any little bit of lag in the video, don't worry. It just depends on how you're watching this webinar. In real life, it's absolutely fine. And it'll be the same when we go live with everything anyway in a moment. You can learn more about speakers, add to calendar, descriptions, download files, all of that sort of stuff it's just built into FeedLoop. It's the way it works, and it's really nice, and you can always multitask and network and all of that as well. There's so many intricate details, again, about how you can set things up. Like, for example, before a session goes live, you can have pre-roll videos. Another great opportunity for sponsors, and this is just in a loop. You can put music if you want here as well before the session goes live. So that's also really, really fun and really nice. And then the moment the session goes live, this will transition to your live stream. So that's also really cool. And then within each and every session, you can have specific arrangements. Like that pop-up survey you saw, that can also be connected to credits, like you can see here. So if you're an association or an academic institution and you're creating a certification program, not only can FeedLoop export those certificates for you, and attendees can export it themselves if you allow them to, but upon completing that survey, demonstrating that they've been in the session long enough and they looked at the content and understood it, they can get those credits, or they can get gamification points or anything like that as well. So lots of ways to incentivize, show sponsors, check if somebody's actually paying attention in your event, all of that. The backstage, let's talk about that briefly, and then we can come back to some of the elements of the session itself. But the backstage is a really important part of the system here, because what the backstage allows you to do is use a built-in system called Meet and Stream to actually stream content. So you don't really have to rely on any third-party solution to stream your content. So there I am again, and what we'll do is we'll go over some examples of how this all works. So Meet and Stream has 2 major options, either going direct RTMP, which means that you can connect OBS, StreamYard, whatever it is that you want, and pump your stream right through to FeedLoop, eliminating any other steps required. Not saying you can't integrate Vimeo Live or anything like that, all great options, but built in here is, on top of FeedLoop Meet, is our streaming solution. And in test mode, you can run as many tests as you want. I can turn on my camera, so you'll see me here again. hi. You can share your screen. You can have up to 16 people in tile mode, gallery view live on the screen as well. Your speakers will join you here also. And we can just turn on the broadcast, and we'll come back here in a moment to see what this looks like. So if I go back to another page here, just another tab, you'll see that right now the broadcast is inactive, which is totally fine. But when you're ready, you would enable the stream, the broadcast would kick in, and the stream would go live. It's as simple as that. There's really nothing more to it, and you'd be able to go live with that. So it takes about 30 seconds for the broadcast to get started, but let's have a quick look at some of the streaming options inside PheedLoop as well, just while we wait. So you'll see here, this is also from support.feedloop.com, that we have a couple of options that we suggest. So one is our built-in meet and stream, which we're showing right now, or direct RTMP, same technology. You can just choose whether you want to use PheedLoop Meet for the source or anything else. Then we have our built-in pre-recorded upload and stream system. So that's absolutely free. What we generally see is most events choose to stream some of their content, live stream, and then more and more we're seeing them upload and pre-record some of their content. Attendees can hardly tell, but absolutely free. De-risks things. What we generally see is most events choose to, and there we go. I just had to mute that because I just heard myself in a loop. But you'll see that now I'm live right here through the same system. It's pretty cool. And I'm live here as well. So that's how the whole broadcast situation works, meet and stream. And it's just super simple. It's built into PheedLoop. There's very little you have to do to make this work correctly. And whenever I'm ready, I can just stop the broadcast. So if I do that, and I go back here, it'll transition to broadcast inactive. You can turn off the stream if you wanted to show your pre-roll video. So if I do that, it'll go back and show a simple pre-roll video, whatever it is that you might want. And if you want to see what the direct RTMP looks like, you just click that, start broadcast, and what you'll get is the key and the URL, and just plug that into any system that you might want to pump your content over direct RTMP. Really nice. So, looking again at the streaming options, upload and stream is really popular, especially because it's free, and it's just really nicely built into PheedLoop. Or you can use one for built-in API integrated services like Zoom or ClickMeeting, or embed any custom service. So if we go back here and look at sessions in the dashboard, you'll be able to see here that I can go into any specific session I might want and click on virtual settings, and you'll see lots of different options. Custom stream code, custom engage code, custom captions code. For Zoom, we'll look at that in just a moment. Pre-recorded videos, all of that. So if we go back to sessions and just have a quick peek at some of the more advanced features here, you'll see that we have things like captioning as well. So that's built inside here, which is really nice. So you click on show captions and you'll see just a demo. This is just a pure demo. And this is through our integration with SyncWords. So if this is important to you, let us know and we'll guide you through that. Or you could just search for captions in our knowledge base as well. You have things like policy forum on space settlement here, which is really cool because it has basically additional sessions. So you can connect sub-sessions to parent sessions if you don't want to clutter your main schedule with like tiny 5-minute sessions or like lightning talks, or if you want to connect a live Q&A to a pre-recorded session. That's a really just a really great way to do that right out of the gate. You can put any custom engage code here as well, so right beside here. And if you wanted to do that, what's nice about this is you can put in like Slido or anything else that you might want, whiteboard, anything that you think PheedLoop might not have but you really want specifically for your engagement, you can drop in here and it'll work just great. One thing I forgot to mention, the backstage as well, is you get access in real time to all the comments and questions coming in. So generally what we see is just a live Q&A when people are in Meet and Stream is going on constantly here. We use Meet and Stream for our own events, and it's just great. And the speakers can always see what's going on the right-hand side, how many people are there, and respond to questions and all of that. So it's just a really nice and smooth experience. And if you go back to the Trailblazers event, all the sessions here were recorded through Meet and Stream as well. So that's always super helpful to know. All the recordings for Meet and Stream will pop up in real time in your dashboard as well. So let's have now a quick look at what the Zoom integration looks like, because this is probably the second or third most popular thing after Meet and Stream and after Upload and Stream. So let's look at this one here, Achieving Earth Independence. Now right now you can see that it's in the pre-roll mode. I'm just going to go over to Zoom and start this meeting that I had pre-set up here. All right, so let's go back to this area here And let's enable the stream and let's see what happens. So depending on your Zoom settings, everything will change. If you, depending on your security settings and all that. So you can see here, we chose to put in a password, for example. So I'm just going to hit submit. And if I go back here, let's see, there we go. It transitioned immediately. In real time, it'll happen for everybody. And I can join audio by computer if I wanted to here, or I can just leave it as is. And I'm here. Again, don't worry if it's a little choppy. It's just, it depends on how you're looking at this webinar. But in real life, it's absolutely fine. And because this is a meeting, I have some more controls, like being able to control my audio, share screen. If it's a webinar, then you have different options. You can run polls through here. You can have your breakout rooms through here. And what's really cool is that we took a lot of effort to completely rebrand the way this looks. So you'll see all the theme colors and everything, they match your event. So this is also a really good option because it doesn't look and feel like Zoom that much. It's built into your event, which is really neat, and people seem to really love. So, you can turn on your breakout rooms and all of that if you want from here. You can turn on closed captions if you want. All of that works really seamlessly inside the system, share screens and all of that. So, just to show you a couple of these quick examples, if I wanted to share, say, our Trailblazers event, you'll see that that'll pop up if right here. Sorry for all the window switching. And if I wanted to turn on captions or breakout rooms or anything like that, it'll work just as well. So I'm going to end the Zoom meeting for now. And now we've learned a lot about how the whole system works on the session side. Obviously, there's even more detail to unravel, but we're going to leave that here, and we're going to just zip through other parts of the system like the exhibit hall, networking, and all of that, and touch a little bit more on registration in the website and call it a day. So let's move on. So the exhibit hall has got to be one of my favorite parts of the system, just because it's so fun. It has so many cool little features and so many powerful ROI driving features as well for exhibitors. Underneath a cute interface with a 3D exhibit hall, and like live avatars when people are actually in the booths, which is really fun. Beneath that are some really sophisticated and powerful booth experiences for exhibitors. Even looking at the exhibit hall for Trailblazers, for example, it's really nice when you're able to actually display your sponsors and exhibitors in some intuitive ways, have animated interfaces that show real-time traffic and things like that, and encourage people to actually visit the booths. Now, the real question is what happens when you actually visit a booth? Well, there's so many different options that exhibitors have to control to configure. So remember what I was showing you earlier in the dashboard, that exhibitors and sponsors, they all have their own private portals, and those portals can be used to configure their own profiles so that you don't have to chase after them to do all kinds of little things. Well, that profile now is represented here, again, with its own real-time chat on the right-hand side, its own presence tracking. Exhibitors can get the analytics for who visited their booths, and when. They can download leads, all of that. So suppose, I go to an exhibitor that has lead capture enabled, and I request information, I put in my information. I can even attach my uploaded files. This is great for career fairs if attendees are uploading their resumes and want to send them to employers, in air quotes, exhibitors. And then you have the ability to message the staff member in real time. You can see who's online if they are at any given time. You can download their files. You can watch videos. You have full HTML supported descriptions, so they can put in even iframes and things like that if they wanted to. They can put in their own private meeting bookers like Calendly or anything like that, which will render right inside the system, and it's really nice. So all of that is there. But the other really important aspect of it is this ability to join live. And join live is basically an option you can enable for exhibitors, which allows them to essentially have the ability to run a live PheedLoop Meet built video meeting at their booth with lots of people who can come and join them publicly. They can be running a live presentation. They can be answering questions. They can be, doing anything they want. It's PheedLoop Meet built into the booth. It's not Zoom or anything. It's PheedLoop Meet, the same system that's used everywhere. And it's great. It works really nicely, and it allows exhibitors to really have that face-to-face interaction with large groups of people. Now, of course, exhibitors can always have their one-on-one interactions as well. So if I'm an attendee, for example, and I wanted to message Leland from the Space Launch Systems Limited group here, I could just say, hey, and open up that conversation. And what's really cool is now I can jump into a private video call with him if I wanted to, or at least request that private video call. He'll get that notification and see if that works out. Now, for exhibitors, one of the great advantages, at least for virtual events, is they have a lot more data. So as an exhibitor, if I'm a manager at a booth and I go to networking, talk more about networking in just a little bit, I can click on booth and I can see who visited my booth most recently. Now, Simon Young, he's not really an active member of any booth, so that's why the last visit was like 2 months ago. But you'll see down to the second as people come in. And this is a great opportunity for exhibitor staff to actually reach out proactively to people and set up calls, set up meetings, message them, and all of that, especially because you can know who's online. And that really helps build that connection and build interaction with exhibitors really, really fast. You can also set up a second exhibit hall if you wanted to. So oftentimes people set up a second exhibit hall for like a showcase or something like that. Totally fine and is extremely valuable as well. So don't dismiss that opportunity. And again, nothing costs more. So your event can last as long as you want. You can have as many exhibits as you want, staff members as you want. It really doesn't affect the pricing at all. So you can really go wild with that as much as you want. So the exhibit hall is it's a great place for you to have live video interaction, really neat interfaces that help people see where there's activity, great data and analytics for exhibitors, lots of design options and connectivity options for them, the ability to chat in real time, and the ability for exhibit halls to last beyond the event itself, the live dates and times of the event. Most of the activity and ROI that we see for exhibitors often happens off hours when people are exploring on their own time and learning more in a more peaceful setting. So that might inspire you to kind of think about how you design your specific event in certain ways. And remember, on the back end, we have tons of options for exhibitors, like their own portals, like their application systems, finance management, and all of that. Those are all separate kind of products, or rather not products, but things to look at that we can't cover in this webinar. Now let's kind of summarize some of the aspects of networking. I know throughout the entire demo so far, I've just constantly been talking about all the micro ways in which networking collaborates with all the different features, because honestly, that's really the way you want to think about it, right? You don't want to be forcing networking onto people, because that'll work for some people. You want it to just be sort of embedded in the whole experience. But let me just try to summarize some of these things for you so that you understand how that works. We talked about presence tracking as one of the most popular options, the ability to also always know who's in any session at any time, in the lobby at any time, anywhere. So whether you're in a session, exhibit hall, presence tracking is one of the most powerful features. That said, you can turn it off. Some people like to keep it off for whatever reason, but I would say the vast majority of events keep it on, and it really is a game changer when it comes to networking. You can network in exhibit halls, you can network in sessions, you can network from anywhere where you see somebody's face. That's an opportunity to network with them. But if we explicitly go to the networking tab here, you have the ability to always see the full list of attendees. There's no limit on the number of attendees a platform like PheedLoop can support either. And you're able to filter based on custom tags that you might create, which is really nice because it gives you an ability to sift through. We also are working currently on a brand new matchmaking system, which we're really excited about. And it's on the horizon. So that's going to be a game changer as well. And we can't wait. You can filter and find out who's specifically online right now. So if you only want to try to reach out to people who are online, higher chance of being able to meet people. That's great too. You have full profiles for people as well. So with their links, websites, all of that, you can very easily start a chat with anybody anytime you want. You can view any files that they might have uploaded. They might have kept them private, in which case you can't see them. If they're public, they can. So things like brochures or anything, they can really upload anything they want. And we have the built-in viewer even for PDFs right here, which is really nice in its own right. So this is great, again, for career fairs or all kinds of other things. But the use cases are unlimited. You have the ability to search based on organization, name, titles, things like that. And then you have groups. Groups are really, really neat because one-on-one networking is nice, but being able to network with, say, 25 other people is even better. So if I go into a group, for example, what's really cool about this is it'll instantly pop up the group. I, again, have the presence tracking. I have chatting on the right-hand side here as well. So that's always there for you. By the way, anytime you see any green halos around people, that means they're online, and that's constantly refreshing in the PheedLoop system. And if I click on Join Video Call, I have the ability to jump into a group conversation, also using PheedLoop Meet, with anybody else who's in the group. So it's a little lonely right now, but I can jump in and I can either be a fly on the wall or I can be more actively engaged. It's really up to the participants. Built into every networking module is 5x5 group networking, which means up to 5 groups with 5 people in real time in any group at any time. And you can upgrade that, as you saw earlier in the pricing, to 25x25, which means 25 groups with up to 25 people in each group. Let us know if you have any questions about that. And you can choose whether you want attendees to be able to create groups on their own or if you want to be the only one who can create groups. You can also apply restrictions to all parts of the event if you wanted to. So not only parts like in networking, but sessions, for example, if you want to gate access to specific parts and only allow, say, executives into a certain session, you can restrict access based on the tags that you saw earlier. Or if you're using PheedLoop's registration system, you can negate access based on tickets. This is a great way to either upsell or restrict access or do anything you might want to create a kind of a segmented event experience for people. So, core to PheedLoop's networking is the ability to have video conversations with anyone, anytime, to be able to be notified anytime you want, to be able to multitask, to have face-to-face interactions, and to make networking an embedded part of the experience, not something that you're constantly pushing onto people or relying on a certain feature where only certain personality types we've found are really going to engage more than others. So PheedLoop's networking is great. There's certain features you can use to really enhance it and take it to the next level. And let us know if you have any other questions, of course, around networking. Now, there are things that I'll just mention in this networking part of the webinar, like gamification as a quick example. That's really powerful. I've touched on this a few times. You can sprinkle codes around the whole event, and you can also have gamification points as reactive, basically mechanisms to win points, like responding to sessions for feedback or submitting your request at an exhibit booth to become a lead for that exhibitor. You can also assign points for that, and basically, you get points for all the actions that you do in the system, whether you embed codes and notifications or anything like that, and you can redeem them for any prizes that you might put into the system. So this is always really fun and really encourages networking, really encourages engagement and all of that as well inside the system. So hopefully you get a strong idea of just like how networking works in the system and how it's kind of just like woven into the fabric. Let's try to finish things off and talk about some of the other more kind of infrastructure level features in PheedLoop and wrap it up. Now I want to just take a quick moment and kind of the final part of this to just go over registration with you real quick, because for a lot of you will be using PheedLoop for registration. There are honestly so many options you can consider to really customize registration. This is not like a lightweight, tool like WooCommerce or something like that, or Eventbrite. This is a sophisticated registration tool, member tracking and private access codes and, different categories for it's just there's a lot you can do inside here when it comes to registration. But let's just go through a quick example. So remember, registration is access to the PheedLoop website, not the virtual event portal, the website. And you just go through the different steps, and you can customize which fields you want and all of that. You can set up custom forms. You can have conditional questions. So you can see here, if I click on yes, I can do that. So we have a full form building system inside PheedLoop. Inside here, if you go to advanced, you have the ability to create custom forms, and it's really powerful, and that's embedded in all parts of the PheedLoop system. So let's just go inside here, proceed to tickets. And it's as simple as setting up your tickets. Now, they can be absolutely free tickets, in which case no payment processing is required. You might select it as a virtual ticket, in which case the ticket has some special access rights. It might be a private ticket that requires like a code or something like that. So lots of options there. You can have group registrations and group discounts, as you can see the price drops. So if we just take one virtual ticket as an example, and suppose we wanted to add in another one, we would just hit plus again on that. And again, you can see you have multiple categories. And if it requires payment, you just put in your payment details here. We integrate with Stripe. It takes minutes to set up payment processing, and you'll start getting the money right away. I'm just going to choose the other payment method, which you definitely don't have to leave enabled, but people often label this to like check or wire and things like that, especially in older times, promotion codes and everything like that. But just so that I don't have to pay for this really right now, I'm just going to hit submit. And again, you customize this flow quite a bit depending on what you're looking to do. So I'm just going to hit checkout there as I did and move on. You can have even require people if you want to select their schedule at this stage. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to hit complete registration, and that schedule syncing will sync, by the way, with your virtual event portal, and you can adjust it there if you want it as well. And you get a summary. You'll get an email. You'll get PDF receipts and tickets and downloadables and all of that. You can customize the messaging everywhere. But registration is just, it works. It's really simple to use, and it has a lot under the hood that you can implement to really make things robust. Now, again, if you are using PheedLoop just for the virtual event side or just for hybrid events or anything like that, you can use your own reg tool and just import attendees into the system really, really easily by just going over to attendees and using the import function right here. Or you can always manually create them as one-offs as well from here as well. So lots of options to consider, and that's totally free. You can do that as often as you like. So there's really not much to that. So hopefully the registration flow makes sense. Hopefully PheedLoop as a platform makes sense. I know we went through so much today with you, but thank you for your patience. It was great. We're really looking forward to any questions that you might have. Remember, sales.feedloop.com is a great knowledge base for sales-related content. Support.feedloop.com is for any knowledge base or technical documentation. Feedloop.com in general is a great place to learn more about our company, our blog, and all of that. And if you're ready to get started, just let us know, and we'll be able to get you set up pretty much same day, and you'll be off to the races. There are no delays on our side, and we're able to help events get up and running really fast. We run lots of events every single day, so this is what we do, and we really hope we have the opportunity to be of service to yours as well. Thank you. Hope you stay safe. Hope you take care of yourselves, and let us know if we can be helpful in any way at all. Take care, everybody.